Welcome back, everyone. We're now going into a transition from learning the art of becoming unfuckwithable to moving towards being able to set really bold, powerful visions for your life. There's a space in between, and that is where we learn to deal with failure and hardship. Life will occasionally let you down. There will be failures, there will be pain, there will be suffering. It is how you cope with these situations that truly make you extraordinary. What you're going to learn in this section is how to reframe failure. So failure doesn't have the same negative meaning and the same negative wallop on your life as it does for many other people. I have a belief about life that I think has made me really resilient to suffering and pain. The belief wasn't always there, but it came as I started going through life and meeting so many great mentors. I hinted on this belief earlier on when we spoke about Kensho and Satori. Kensho, or suffering or pain, is often the greatest opportunity for growth. The Rumi said, "The wound is the part through which the light enters." And remember this, Rumi also said, "O ye who cannot take a good rub, how will you ever become a polished gem?" The idea here is that sometimes we need to get hit at the back of our heads. We need to experience pain so we awaken to the next level of who we are meant to be. What if pain is a soul's response to warn you when you're moving in the wrong direction in life? That's the belief system I've taken on, and it has served me well. The idea that pain is a prerequisite for growth, and that when you go through a dark moment, there is a light that's going to emerge at the end of the tunnel, and you're going to be better off than you ever thought possible. The bankruptcy teaches you how to become a better entrepreneur. The breakup teaches you how to find and get in a healthier relationship. Ending up in hospital gives you a better appreciation for your body and your health. The pain and the suffering that you go through in life can often be the breadcrumbs to a greater realization. And here's the thing, it can be a compass to what you're really meant to be doing in life. In my case, as you recall, I experienced some incredible pain as a teenager because of my bad skin. Because of that pain, when I discovered a book on meditation and the possibility that the mind could influence the skin, I took that book really seriously and I poured myself into personal growth. Perhaps that was my soul's way of guiding me to the path I'm on right now. Maybe my soul needed to put me through some misery as a teen so that I had this awakening. If my teenage years were perfectly normal and happy and healthy, maybe I wouldn't be where I am today. Maybe, God forbid, I'd be a lawyer. So what you want to understand is that, no offense to lawyers, please don't sue me. What you want to understand is that perhaps the pain that you experience in life might actually be the breadcrumbs to where you're supposed to be. Now, in my case, I dabbled in personal growth when I healed my skin. But then I became a 19-year-old. I went to college. I moved to the US. Other things preoccupied me. I stopped and I slowed down my meditation practice because meditation just wasn't something cool in the late 90s. There were no meditation societies on campus. You didn't make friends with other people because of their spiritual beliefs. Meditation was just put in a box as weird. And so I stopped meditating, and I only started discovering it again when I ended up broke and broken in Silicon Valley. That was when I took that class that showed me how to tap into my intuition. I learned to go through the yellow pages in a different way. I learned to listen to my intuition, to boost my sales closing ratio, to become a super performer at work. But again, it was being in Silicon Valley during one of the worst times in American history to be in San Francisco, losing everything, sleeping on a couch. That once again was my suffering that led to personal growth. And eventually, I got the message and I became a meditation teacher. Now, I wish I could say that was the end of the story. But even when I went into personal growth from 2003 to 2008, I just felt it wasn't cool enough. And so I tried dabbling with other companies. I put what was then a little version of Mind Valley to the side, and I started dabbling with new technologies and new companies, all of which ultimately failed and failed and failed and failed. It's like my soul was going, oh God, this guy is such a stubborn idiot. I've been trying to give him an answer since he was 17 years old and he just doesn't get it. And my soul was right. I was an idiot. So I went through pain and suffering 3 times, and my soul was keep saying, this is your thing. Get in mind power, get in meditation. When I finally embraced it, that's when Mind Valley took off. When I finally decided that I was going to not do anything else but focus on personal growth education, my life became magical. And I got to where I am today. Now, my question for you is, what were the moments of pain and suffering in your past life where your soul might possibly have been guiding you towards what you are meant to do in life? From suffering, we sometimes find our mission. From suffering, we sometimes find our values. From suffering, we sometimes discover who we are meant to be. And the way it works is really interesting. Very often, your values come from the pain you went through as a kid, because at some deep level, you decide that you do not want other people to experience that pain. This is why we enter the right jobs. This is where we find our right values. Today, I'm in the personal growth field, and one of my foremost values is transformation. I live my life to focus and put myself through transformative experiences over and over again. But that value came from repeated pain and my soul kicking me to make sure I got the point. Viktor Frankl said this about suffering: when meaning is given to suffering, it ceases to become suffering. What this means is that when we can look back at the pain we've experienced or the pain we're having right now and see that this could simply be breadcrumbs leading us to our mission or our value, we sometimes make that suffering and that pain completely disappear. So what you're going to learn here is an exercise to do just that. You can apply this exercise to momentary setbacks that happen in life. And you can apply this exercise to larger problems that you've experienced in life, really painful incidents. I'm going to teach you the technique and how to apply it. It's called the energy redirection technique. I learned this technique from my friend Bert Goldman. Bert is a Mind Valley teacher. He developed one of our early programs on spirituality, a program called Quantum Jumping. And I was in a class with Bert and he told me the story. He was once teaching a class on meditation and mind power. This must have been in the late 70s or early 80s. Bert today is in his 90s. And so Bert was leaving the class and decided to give some of his students a lift. And when they walked to his car, he realized that someone had rear-ended his car. It was a relatively new car, and there it was, a dent on the side of the car. So the students were like, what an asshole. And he didn't even leave his phone number or a note. Bert said, look, I'm not going to worry about it. And he took the students in the car and he said, guys, I really want to show you how I deal with problems like this. Bert drove to an auto mechanic, pointed to the dent and said, hey, how much do you think it'll cost to fix this? The auto mechanic gave a number. Maybe it was around $800. Bert said, gotcha. I'll be back next week. Now, Bert explained to the students he was not going to let his mind obsess about the dent, because if his mind was obsessed about the dent, he would be in a state of frustration, of pain. Rather, he's going to turn the problem into a project. Let me repeat that. You turn the problem into a project. He set a goal for himself. He was going to earn an extra $800 that month. Bert said he then dropped the students off, went home, and the new dominant thought in his mind was not the dent. It was earn an extra $800 this month and continue earning that month after month after month. The dent now became a friend. The dent became a positive thing in his life. Sure enough, a few days later, Bert had an epiphany. He came up with a new way to advertise his classes that boosted sales, coincidentally, by exactly $800. He found he could repeat that month after month after month. He was now earning $800 more a month, all thanks to a dent. You see how energy redirection works? It means you take what most people would see as a problem and you turn it into a project. And then you apply your mind to solving that project. When you learn how to tap into intuition, when you learn how to bend reality, you start beginning to realize that your mind is that powerful and that problems can spur us on to move to where we are really meant to be. So here's how to apply the process. First, understand that when a problem occurs, we have 3 basic responses. The first is frustration, But remember, if you're frustrated, that's a break in your happiness and now that gets you out of the ultimate state of human existence, that moves you away from the act of bending reality. It slows you down. Do not get frustrated. Or if you do get frustrated, get over it quick. Number two, you want to fix it. You want to find things to fix. So your mind is now obsessed with, okay, I got to find the best auto mechanic. Maybe this guy quoted 800, but another guy will quote me a little bit less. I'm going to drive around. I'm going to take a day off, find the best auto mechanic. What happens here is you have a fixation obsession. You do not want to be obsessed with fixing the problem. Rather, you want to create a vision that renders the problem obsolete. Bert didn't even think about the dent. He knew the number, $800. He created a vision for himself. He was going to boost his monthly income by $800. That dent would actually be a gift. It would be almost like a little reminder to him that he could think bigger. And he did. So you want to create a vision that renders the problem obsolete. Now you can apply the same technique in your life. Think about a problem that you've recently experienced. Maybe you don't have enough time in your life. You feel busy. What is a vision that would make that busyness obsolete? Maybe you're obsessed over someone who broke your heart or left you. What is a vision that would make that feeling obsolete? Maybe it's a vision of you becoming the newer version of the man or woman you're meant to be so that you find the right person for you. Think about a vision that makes whatever problem is on your mind obsolete. And you want to make that vision part of your three most important questions. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to do this exercise. You want to think of what is bugging you, what's hurting you, what is that pain, whether recently or even something from the past. And you want to ask yourself, how can I create a new vision that I can add to my three most important questions to make this problem obsolete? Let's get started. If you feel compelled to share your problem and the vision you created to make that problem obsolete with the community, go ahead and do so. I'm sure there'll be some incredibly inspiring stories there. Thank you for doing that exercise. Remember to keep your three most important questions in a safe place. Tomorrow, we're going to go deeper in your 3M IQ and we're going to add another layer of expansion and understanding to it. I'll see you then.